Okay, let's continue with ADC. I have one champion that I hate. I had one champion in all of these picks right here. I have one champion I fucking hate. And guess what? It's Ezreal. This motherfucker is broken. And if you guys are not abusing him, you are doing something wrong. Because every ADC player in Legend Queue is abusing this champion. Tons of damage and tons of mobility. It's disgusting. He is the most disgusting ADC right now because he is so hard to kill and he does so much damage. Hey, what's up guys? Darkbreaker here. Welcome to today's tier list for patch 3.4c right before 3.5. 3.5 is going to introduce a lot of changes coming in 2 weeks, so we're going to do a new tier list by then as well. And I hope you guys will enjoy this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you guys are enjoying this video and you guys think, okay, Darkbreaker, that's a fantastic tier list once again. Disclaimer for you nitpickers. Obviously, a tier list is an orientation and my subjective opinion. So, you guys can use this on orientate yourself on the champions I'm putting into different ranks. But I always tell you guys as well, play the champion you like, and picks really don't matter too much in solo queue, because player difference matter more than pick or comp difference. Like, we're not playing competitive, we're not playing high elo or super high elo, so picks really don't matter. A lot of times I'm losing games with a really good composition because the players are playing bad, or I'm winning with a very bad composition. It really doesn't matter. Play what you want. But if you guys want to have an easier time climbing, then I would definitely recommend you guys to listen to what champions I think are good as a multi-challenger player, legend gamer, former legend gamer. Now we are hard stuck washed. Unlucky. But yeah, let's get started with the Baron lane tier list. Hey, let's go. So for the Baron lane tier list, S plus tier, we have Gwen. Gwen is immune. Snip, snip. Yeah, Gwen is very strong in my opinion. Has godly sustain. She can be an insane 1v1 hyper carry. Doing tons of damage. Kind of scaling in the early game, not the greatest, but yeah, 1v1 potential is absolutely cracked. And she has true damage as well. Next one is gonna be... wait. I need to load the music. I'm gonna fucking die. It's distracting. I'm gonna change it. It's too distracting. Wait, where's the Luffy thing? Oh, here. Better. Lyrics are too distracting. I'm gonna cut it. It's fine. Okay, next one is gonna be Jax. Jax is one of the best split pushers in the game. Super strong in the late game. Probably the best duelist in the late game. The thing is, in the early game, he's not even that weak if you play it correctly. So Jax is just absolutely cracked and really, really strong in the right hands. Next one, Wukong. Wukong has godly sustain in the laning phase. He is absolutely broken in my opinion, both in the Baron lane as well as in the jungle. He has an insane teamfight potential as well with his ultimate. And even as a 1v1 champion, he can do super fine thanks to the sustain with Divine Sundra, Grasp, Triumph, Death Dance, etc. Just really, really solid. Next one, Fiora, one of the strongest early game champions and super strong late game split pushing champion. Can dominate the laning phase super well. High skill ceiling champion and super fun to play in my opinion. Next one, Gragas, you can play him both full AP as well as hybrid or tank build. He's overall very consistent and does fine against most champions. Might get outscaled against some Divine Sundra split pushers if you go for tank build, but if you go for full AP build, you can definitely hard carry team fights as well as win those 1v1s. Jay is one of the strongest laning phases, super good at punishing the melee champions in the Baron lane. If you are proficient at using spacing and his auto attacks to harass and zone people away. With Heartbreaker, also very good split pusher, and in teamfights he has a lot of poke damage. Renekton, overall one of the most solid champions in my opinion. He is super tanky, he's a very decent duelist. In the early game he's super strong, he has tons of mobility as well. He has a lock stun click point, just click on it, stun someone for 2 seconds, very fucking strong. Akali, probably one of the best 1 vs 9 hyper carry assassins that you can use in the Baron lane. It's also great as a duelist, 1 vs 1, but in teamfights, her assassination potential is super good. Now we have Warwick, the new champion that just got released recently. I think you have 2 options that you can use him for. Either you go like a tanky bruiser with a grass build, super high sustain with Blade of the Rune King and Divine Sundra. Or maybe sometimes you're playing against a melee champion and everyone else is like a melee champion. You can go for a very similar build like Jax. And then go Lethal Tempo or Conqueror for insane 1 vs 1 split push potential. Like Warwick 1 vs 1, he is very similar to Wukong because he has so much sustain. He's very hard to kill. You have the damage reduction on the 3rd ability, you have fear, you have suppression when someone wants to gank you. I think Warwick jumps in with a fear, suppresses someone, free kill when the jungler comes, and he is also very tanky as well. Next one is gonna be Set. Set is a super good juggernaut, overall super tanky, great teamfight value as well. Darius, great snowboarding champion, he has the reset potential to wipe the enemy team when he gets the Noxus Might. Overall in the laning phase he does fine as well. Riven is a hyper mobility carry that has tons of damage and tons of mobility. Camille kinda falling off, but still S tier in my opinion. Super solid lane, good catch potential with the ultimate, and great split pusher overall. Sion is a super tanky champion, can be a great split pusher, and can also be a fantastic frontliner in teamfights, providing tons of crowd control. He has the 1st ability, the 3rd ability, then he has a shield, and the ultimate can stun multiple people as well. Split pushing first and then joining a team fight, or just be an inting Sion and just keep splitting the whole game, but I don't like that playstyle. Next one, Garen, a very beginner-friendly champion, super tanky, does tons of damage as well. Just overall very consistent. Same for Malphite. If you play against melee champions slash physical damage team compositions, Malphite is a fantastic counter that does overall very solid in the lane and in teamfights. Obviously, he has a great ultimate to knock multiple people up. He might struggle against some split pushing champions that are running Divine Sundra, where he gets outscaled and he can't really rotate anymore because they're consistently taking down the turrets. So kinda tricky then, that you need to get ahead early on, or maybe win the teamfights hard enough that you don't get outscaled, and then maybe the Fiora or Jax are just running you down. Or even the Gwen. Gwen also runs you down. Next one, Aurelia, high skill ceiling champion, super solid in the lane. Kinda tricky, I would say, because all matchups are pretty skill based. So if you're really good on this champion, you can definitely make her work, and she has great carry potential in teamfights because she does tons of damage and has tons of sustain. I'm not breathing. Okay, next one's gonna be Shen. Shen, in my opinion, in the laning phase he does fine. He has the ultimate to join, or should I say he has the global ultimate to join team fights, can keep splitting, and then he just joins the team fight to protect the hyper carry, and then he has the taunt as well in team fight, which is really good. I had recently a game in Legend Queue where Shen was playing against Mundo. He was killing Mundo like twice, and then afterwards he just kept roaming with the ultimate, keep joining, and my Mundo was just AFK. So there, you will have games where you're just completely carrying a team, carrying the game because it's a 5 versus 4. But then you will also have games where you're playing against a split pusher and you just can't do anything. If you join with the ultimate, you lose 2 turrets. Let's say you're playing against Jax with Divine Sunra and fucking Borg. The moment you're using the ultimate, you lose 2 turrets. So how often can you use the ultimate to actually join? And can you even go even against a Jax, for example? No, you can't. That's so that's why I think Shen is kind of tricky. Plus, if you're a tank, you rely on your teammates and never trust your teammates in solo queue because they're all shit. Bam. Next one is gonna be Akshan. I've played against random recently on Akshan, and he destroyed me. He destroyed me. Like, every fucking time you try to contest or try to get, or every fucking time you try to get the last hit on a minion, he will try to contest it. He will try to poke you down. You can't get close to a minion because you will just get poked, and if you fuck up, in the early game and take too many hits from the Akshan, the moment the wave is crashing and he just dives you, and then he dives you with a heroic swing, and then he just dashes out again, because the moment he kills you, he gets a reset, and then he can just dash out. So Akshan is also a very good diver. So kinda tricky, I would say. Overall, if you play this champion well, he can be super devastating into melee matchups. But he's squishy and very easy to camp. That's the downside. That's the downside about all these ranged champions. If the enemy jungler wants to punish you, you can play the game. If you play a tanky champion or bruiser, most of the times you can weak side and you will be fine. But if you get camped or jungler ganks you, he just fucks you over and you can't play the game anymore. So that's why I'm not the biggest fan of those range ADCs in the Baron lane. Next one is Cannon. Cannon is a very strong teamfight champion and super dominant in the laning phase. He is really squishy though, plus he gets outscaped by a lot of champions in the side lane. So that's why I'm just putting him A tier. Yone, high skill ceiling champion, can be really good, but super scaling. Same applies for your Yasuo. They are both, I would say, pretty high skill ceiling. I mean, Yone is probably easier to play into those melee matchups because you can always use the third ability to jump in and then jump back out. A Yasuo requires more skill to play it in the Baron lane, I would say. But overall, if you get like 3 items, these 2 champions can hyper carry as well. Kassadin, overall, solid laner, I guess, but he needs a lot of items to scale, and then he will become hyper carry. But before that, he's kind of useless. He's kind of useless before 3 items in the Baron lane, and you can't farm as well as you used to because they increase the cooldown of the second ability. Next one is gonna be Diana. I would say she's decent in the laning phase. She probably struggles against a lot of matchups, so you can use the first ability to try to last it. Plus side is her teamfight is absolutely cracked, thanks to her ultimate and thanks to her mobility. Tryndamere overall, I think he's kind of underrated, that most people think he's really bad. In the early game, he might not be the greatest, but he has a very strong 1v1, especially once you have like 2 items, or should I say, with the ultimate. Like, if you play it well and you have the ultimate, a lot of champions are killable the moment you have ultimate, and the moment you have 2 or 3 items, he just becomes super fucking strong. Downside is obviously if you're playing against high crowd control team compositions. So if you're playing against, let's say, Morgana, let's say they have a lot of mobility, Karma, Ezreal, you're probably gonna be useless. Next one is gonna be Pantheon, a super cheesy pick. If you don't get the kill in the early game, you're complete garbage. Pretty much, because he fought behind, and the whole point of playing Pantheon is you need to cheese level 2 or level 3, get the first blood, use the ultimate, and try to snowball on the map. That's the whole point of Pantheon, and if you don't get that done, you will fall behind at minute 10. Like, starting minute 10, every minute the game goes on, you will just get weaker and weaker and weaker, and at some point you're just a stun bot. So that's why I'm not a fan of... the same explanation for jungle and mid lane, by the way, so I'm not gonna repeat myself. Teemo overall very strong laner, and late game with those shrooms he can set up a lot of shrooms before teamfight and do a lot of damage. So it really requires you, if you want to play Teemo, to know correct wave management and how to harass and zone the opponent correctly. If you manage to do that, you get the lead. You can definitely take over a game because you will just demolish most melee champions if you play it correctly. Downside about this champion is obviously that he is very easy to gank and he is pretty squishy overall. And if you fall behind, you're kind of doomed. If you fall behind once, you're doomed in the lane. Next one is Mundo. I think he's overall solid at what he wants to do. He's a tank that does decent amount of damage in a 1v1 overall in teamfights. He has to bail for a little bit of slow here and there, but he's just meat shield. So you rely on your teammates to carry your ass. pretty much. Next one, Zed. I've seen some sexy Zeds random. I got to. I think if you play this champion well, you can definitely make it work. High skill seeding champion, great split pusher, and great assassination potential in teamfights, picking off people in the backline potentially. If you play against like tanky champions, I think if you play like, let's say Zed against Jax, hard, Zed, hard, I guess squishy champions. Maybe if you play against Jace, nice, or if you play against Gwen, could be nice as well. Yeah, but if you play against champions that can stack armor, then you have a problem. Jarvan overall pretty solid in the laning phase and pretty solid in teamfights as well. Olaf, situational pick that can be good into high crowd control team compositions and against tanky champions in the Baron lane. But overall, a very cheesy pick, because if you don't get the head in the early game, you will just fall behind into the Bruiser matchups. Like, he really relies on getting a first blood early on. He can get it done, but if the other player just plays it safe and doesn't try to last it too much and just takes the experience, doesn't get cheese level 1 or level 2, usually Olaf is, I don't know, not that good. Nasus! I don't like Nasus, I just say it right now. I think his playstyle is really counterproductive in solo queue. You don't have the time and the space to farm up, and you need to help out your teammates. And his scaling takes way too long. That's the biggest problem. Singed. Singed is painful. He can become a late game monster, team fighting beast, but overall he will get punished in the laning phase a lot. You need to be a masochist if you want to play Singed in the Baron lane. Same explanation for K, by the way. Nautilus overall pretty solid, I would say. Tanky champion, hard to kill, but I mean, he provides crowd control, but he can't really do too much in the lane. Like, you can't kill anyone, and you can't take turrets. All you do is like try to clear the wave and then try to join teamfights and pray that you win the teamfight. Not a fan. Graves, very scaling champion that needs a lot of time to be useful. 3-4 items before he's useful. Otherwise, I'm overall not a fan of him because he needs so much time to scale. Next one, Vayne and Lucian, same explanation for Akshan, that they can be absolutely fantastic at countering melee matchups, but at the same time they are very easy to punish if the enemy jungler has a brain. Like, let's say they play Lee Sin, Evelyn, Cast, or whatever. You will go 0-5. You will go 0-5. If the enemy jungler camps you, what do you do then? Bye. You're just like, I wanna play anymore. I wanna surrender. I wanna surrender. Okay, next one, Kale. If you are a K-main, you are a masochist. You wanna get punished. You want some beating, because everyone will just camp you. You will go 0-5 guaranteed every single game. Every single game you play this champion, you are a magnet. The jungler is camping you, the mid laner will camp you, the support will camp you, and you are going 0-5. You are fucking weak. You're losing almost every matchup. Yes, in the late game you can become a goddess, 1vs9 hyper carry, but get to the late game, buddy. Get to the late game without mental booming, because every fucking game you will go 0-5. Don't play this champion. I don't recommend it unless you like to go 0-5 every early game, because every time I play this champion, 3 people are diving me, the enemy junglers camping me, even the enemy supporters coming for like a little bit of fun time with Kale. So I don't recommend it, guys. I don't recommend it. Okay, like, what is chat? Let's move on to the jungle tier list. I am biased. I have a new favorite, and the queen. The queen is called Diana. Diana is my new queen in the jungle. If you guys have seen me play her in Legend Queue, you guys are seeing me absolutely demolishing people left and right with a new full burst damage Luden's Echo Infinity Orb build. This champion is a fantastic hyper carry assassin that can solo carry games on her own. Every game getting like 15 or 20 kills. I am a big fan of her because she has tons of burst damage, She has great mobility with the reset on the third ability, and she has a broken ultimate that does tons of damage and can knock up multiple people in team fights. She might not have the greatest early game because she needs to farm. She needs to get the level 5. But overall in team fights, she's absolutely fantastic. Level 3, I think she's okay, but I would rather recommend you guys to focus on farming, get the level 5, and level 5 you are very strong, and also you're not that bad at ganking. You have the third ability to dash in, you can combine it with the first ability, so QE, and then you have another dash again. So very good at chasing people, and I think I like that because in this current meta right now, we have a lot of high crowd control, high mobility team comps, and Diana is very good at chasing down and assassinating these high mobility champions. Let's say they have Ezreal, Lucian, or whatever. You can just follow them and keep chasing them and kill them very easily. Yo, Azure, thanks for the prime. Echo got nerfed, yeah. I think I have a star on Diana, because she moved up. That's why. Next one, I should put one on Yone as well. Next one is gonna be Wukong. Wukong is a very strong champion in my opinion. Absolutely broken, tons of sustain, great gank opportunities, and the ultimate in team fights is super strong. Like these 4 champions are my favorite champions in Legend Queue right now. I'm spamming these 4 champions because they're very good at carrying games. Like very fantastic. Like as you guys can see, these champions, they are really good in team fights. Because a lot of times you will have those clown fiestas at Dragon or Herald, and these champions are very good at winning those team fights for you. Because they either have tons of damage or they provide tons of value in team fights as well. Gregor's insane poke damage, insane burst and poke damage, great playmaking potential with the ultimate and the third ability. Morgana, one of the best kiting champions, kiting/poke champions. Insane jungle clear speed as well. Great fan of her. I think you can play in almost any compositions. Hardest composition to play against is probably a coordinated hard engage composition, because you will probably struggle to kite or defend yourself against it. But overall, she can stall games pretty well. She's very good in teamfights as well. She has good catch potential, and her ultimate, obviously fantastic in teamfights as well. Shyvana is still a great hyper carry champion. The only downside I see in her is her slow early game, or her slow tempo/ganking tempo in comparison to other champions. So if you're playing Shyvana, I would recommend you to ban Kha'Zix, Lee Sin, or Evelynn, because you need time to farm. You need time to farm, and if your teammates are inting, or if your teammates are just getting ganked over and over by these high tempo junglers, then you might have a problem because you might not have the time, or you might not be able to breathe and farm up. But overall, let's say your teammates are not completely inting. Most of the times, if you can farm up, get those evolution points in, then you can hyper carry 1 vs 9. She's very good at carrying games on her own. I'm gonna put them all 3 together. Kha'Zix, Lee Sin, Evelynn are great assassins that can snowball the game into oblivion because they have high tempo ganking speed. Let's call it that. They can just spam gank left and right starting level 3. And for Evelynn, she gets level 5 at 140. And with 3.5, she will probably get level 5 at 130 even. So she just clears full clear 140 and then spam gang spot lane profit, she wins. And you just get 2-tapped. She doesn't even have to use her ultimate to kill you. She just E, like let's say she puts W on you, then EQ, boom, you're dead. That's the point when you have infinity top death cap. So Evelynn, fucking broken solo queue champion. Same for Lee Sin and Kha'Zix, it didn't change. I think all the good junglers that wanna climb quickly, they are spamming these 3 champions because they are very good at hyper carrying and just dominate the enemy jungler from the get-go, so you don't have time to farm up, for example. Olaf, also very strong. I mean, you guys know it. He's a very good 1 vs 9 hyper carry. He can ignore crowd control. So if you're playing against high crowd control team compositions, or very tanky champions, Olaf is your go-to pick. He has true damage, he can ignore crowd control, he has tons of sustain as well. A very good champion. If you combine Olaf with Lulu or even Yumi, he just runs everyone down. Very, very strong champion. Yone, very strong hyper. I'm saying it. Yeah, every champion in S Plus is hyper carry, minus Morgana, I guess. Everyone else is hyper carry minus Morgana, but Morgana has a unique playstyle, I would say, at carrying games. She plays. She wants to play the game more slow, while all the others want. I mean, Shyvana wants to farm up, but all the other champions, they play a different, more aggressive playstyle. Yone, his jungle is honestly decent, but he needs items. He definitely needs items. But the moment you have like 3 items, you just carry the game on your own. You just jump in, ultimate, boom, nuke them, and then you can just jump out again. He has very safe dive potential as well, and he's also becoming super popular in competitive jungle. Oh, I forgot Z jungle. But I don't know where I would place him. I forgot Z jungle. He's a champion that's becoming really popular. Let's just put him 8 here. I think that's fair. He's becoming really popular in Chinese competitive. New champion Warwick. Overall, 1 vs 1 in the early game, he is fucking strong. I think, no, I'm not sure. I think he beats every champion 1 vs 1 in the early game, level 3. He has too much sustain. His first ability gives him too much sustain. I'm not sure if he's beating Lee Sin, Ka, or Riven though. I think so. Overall, if people are low life, he's Speedo Gonzalez. He has Ramos first ability non-stop activated when people are low life, so he can rotate on the map super quick. He has a fear, he has damage reduction as well, he has suppression on the ultimate. So if you get suppressed, you're dead. So if Warwick is ganking you with the ultimate, like you press W, you activate your third ability, and then you're using the ultimate to hit someone, let's say mid laner, 2 vs 1, or top laner, you're guaranteed that. You can't survive that. So, but the downside about Warwick is definitely his team fighting. I would say his team fighting, hard to play it out if they have high mobility. Like if they're all bunched up, it's hard for Warwick to do something, unless you're building super tanky. Maybe you're jumping in, and then you use your fear, and then you're just AoE fearing everyone, activate Stoneplate or something. Maybe. I'm not sure. I think S, a strong S for now. By the time 3.5 comes out, I'm gonna change my opinion by then, probably. Maybe I'm gonna think, maybe I should have rated him lower, or maybe I should have rated him higher. But I think for now I'm gonna put him a strong S tier. Echo got nerfed again. Makes his jungle K even weaker, but he has very good 1 vs 9 hyper carry potential, because he has tons of burst damage, he has a great stun, and he has the ultimate to rewind back, get full HP, and do tons of damage. The only downside I see with him is his early game tempo, because he's very slow paced and his jungle K is not that good. But overall, let's say you have 3 items, he's cracked. He is cracked. Riven, high mobility, damage champion, overall very strong. Xin Zhao, very solid champion, great ganks, just a solid bruiser. Same for Jarvan, who is a really good ganking machine, super tanky but falls off later on. Overall, still very good in teamfights. Similar explanation for Vi. Great ganker with the first ability and the ultimate, but she doesn't really have the, let's say, 1 vs 9 carry potential in teamfights that I like to see. She's like, you're jumping in, you're picking someone off, you're tanking for your teammates. I'm looking at Diana. I jump in, boom, I kill them all on my own. I don't need anyone else. I'm just wiping them on my own, for example. Nunu, ganking machine, very tanky, overall good in teamfights. Yes, next one. Aurelia. I mean, I did explain it on the Baron lane. High skill ceiling champion, great carry potential, overall does tons of damage and has insane amount of sustain. Jace, strong champion, does tons of damage. Fiora, great skirmisher slash duelist. High skill ceiling champion. I think what you wanna do on Fiora is definitely you wanna take fights or force fights in the early game, because she's so good in the 1 vs 1. And then once you have enough items, you are very, very strong in teamfights as well. So you want to play a playstyle that is very aggressive and wants to force those 1v1 slash duels, because then you can show off because you are such a strong 1v1 champion, and then you can start snowballing. High skill ceiling champion, pretty fun to play champion as well. Rammus is a champion that can be very good against team compositions that have only physical damage, because he can just stack up armor and become an absolute unkillable beast that does decent amount of damage and can just frontline forever. If you play against full physical damage compositions, probably S tier, but overall like a strong A tier. The downside about Rammus is definitely if you don't land successful ganks, your tempo in the jungle is really slow, jungle clear wise. So that's why I'm not a fan of this champion. You rely on your teammates to have brain. If your teammates are bad, you will never win on Rammus. You will never win a game on Rammus if your teammates are bad. But if you play these champions in the S+ tier, if your teammates are shit, you can still carry games. Not every time, but a lot of times. This is a champion, slow tempo in the early game, jungle clear wise, and even later on, like, you need level 5 for ganks. You need items as well to be useful. Let's say 2 items or 3 items. That's when you're starting to become super strong and you can carry games. Jax overall, jungle clear speed wise, kinda slow tempo. Ganks are okay. He has very good scaling though. Nautilus, great ganking machine in terms of crowd control that he provides. Slow tempo when it comes down to jungle clear, but great value in teamfights because he's so tanky. He has the ultimate for crowd control, the passive, and even the hook to catch people. Pantheon, I already explained it in the Baron lane. Great snowballing champion, but falls off very quickly. Renekton, overall, I'm surprised no one plays him in the jungle, because he definitely works in the jungle. You guys are fools if you think this champion doesn't work in the jungle. He has a double dash, he has a stun, he has decent jungle clear speed as well, and he's super tanky thanks to the ultimate. Overall, very solid champion. Rengar. I think the meta doesn't fit him. If you're a good one-trick pony, you can still make him work with a crit build or bruiser build. Obviously, he's a snowballing champion. In the right hands, you can still make him work. But overall, he received so many nerfs over the last few months / weeks that I think he isn't that good in comparison to other junglers anymore. Amumu is super weak in the early game, but his team fighting can be very good. Camille, fucking dog shit jungle clear speed, shit tempo in the early game, but you have the ultimate at least to catch people, and third ability for mobility. But hey, the third ability has 25 seconds cooldown. Great ride, thank you. Next one, Z Jungle, a new hot pick incoming from China tournaments or China competitive. Z Jungle has been becoming really popular there, and I think the main reason is because the champion has very good dive potential for aggressiveness, which Chinese teams like. And I think you can definitely make him work. I think I uploaded Z Jungle recently, Supreme Cell in Grandmaster, so it clearly works. Gang's not bad, especially if you have ultimate, you pretty much have a guaranteed kill. I think he's solid, high skill ceiling. Next one, Gwen, jungle clear dog shit. Good carry potential though. Darius, bad ganks, but if you get the reset, can be good. But most of the times Darius struggles in this meta. Whether it be high mobility or high crowd control, Darius will get kited. That's the biggest problem. Tryndamere, early game pretty slow, but hey, 3 items. Boom, boom, boom. In low elo, very good. Same explanation for Master Yi, great snowballing champion. Kinda coin flip. Either you're 10-0 or you're 0-10. I think that's Master Yi pretty much. Sin Jungle. Jungle clear wise, it's okay. I think on 3.5 his jungle clear is gonna be so free. It's gonna be so easy to play him. I honestly think on 3.5, Sinch is gonna become S tier. Because right now his jungle clear is really shit. But I think on 3.5, it's gonna be so easy for him to clear. And his ganks are absolutely cracked. I think he probably is like one of the best gankers in the game. You have the flip, the second ability blocks any mobility abilities plus flash. And his teamfights are very good. I think on 3.5 he will be very fucking strong. Actually. You could actually... Wait, can't you run Face Rush on him on the new patch? Face Rush is getting buffed that you get ability haste, right? Okay, idea. Write it down, Darkbreaker, on Notepad. Shen... Shit! Jungle clear speed. I mean, it's kind of okay. Ganks are okay, but in the end, you're still a tank. Remember what they say. Don't play tanks in solo queue. You're inting yourself. Don't trust teammates. Don't trust them. Don't trust them. You need to carry your... If you want to win games, you need to carry on your own. Don't trust these 4 inters. Don't trust them. Never trust your inting teammates. Sion. Very... I mean... Maybe I should just put Sion C tier, not gonna lie. His ganks are worse than Shen. His jungle clear is probably a little bit better. But on 3.5, we are 3.4C, so he still works. But on 3.5, the Crux don't spawn little golemites or whatever you want to call them. So you get less stacks then. His ganks are... You need ultimate to gank. You need ultimate or someone to set up. Just farm up, become a tanky beast. Probably C tier, honestly. Set jungle clears by speed wise is okay. Ganks are okay. Team fighting, very good. Grace, jungle clear speed, meh, I would say. In the early game at least. He's a champion that needs farming. He is a Walmart Shyvana, pretty much. A Walmart Shyvana. He can become very good once he has 3 items, but get to the point at 3 to get to the 3 item point beforehand. Please try that. It's painful. I don't like Grace. I don't like him. Okay, let's get started with the middle lane tier list. For Akali, obviously S+ tier, great assassin, tons of damage. Kassadin, late game monster, too much mobility, too much damage. Ahri, great assassin, great pick of potential, too much mobility as well. Diana, high damage potential in team fights, great mobility, great assassination. Oh, what do they have in common? Mobility, assassination potential in team fights. Oh, what a surprise. Next one, Katarina. 1 reset to rule them all. You get 1 reset, they all die. GG's. Well played. Nerf Katarina, please. Karma, great poking champion and great utility value. She has shield, she has mobility, she has a broken ultimate that can pull everyone together in a team fight as well. Yone, too much damage, too much safety. 3 items, you win the game. It's easy like that. He's strong laning phase as well. He has very safe engages. He has 5. He can knock up people twice, whether it be with the first ability or with the ultimate. And then he presses 3rd ability back. He's fine. Then he stacks up. He jumps in again. And then when he has 3 items, pop pop, you dead. Pop pop, 2 steps, step step, you dead. Step step, you're dead. Broken. I guess very similar explanation for Yasuo. I guess Yasuo is harder to pull off because either you need someone to enable you with with a knockup, or you are a Giga Chat and you do like a Flash Q3 or Protobell Q3 combo, Tornado, Keyblade, Airblade, whatever. Very high skill ceiling. I think Yone is much easier to play than Yasuo. If you are a sexy Yasuo one-trick pony, not like Don, then S+ tier. Next one, Aurelia. Aurelia is a great assassin. Tons of damage, tons of sustain. If you are a skilled Aurelia, you just win the game on your own because you dominate the early game, you get those solo kills, then in team fights, a nice ultimate, and then you hit 3 people with a stun. You dash, pop, 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 pop. No one can catch you, no one can stun you, and you just wipe them, and you have too much sustain. Like I said, these picks are picks that have high skill ceiling, or if you are skilled on these champions, they are just absolutely, like, you will gap the opponent so hard if you are really good on these champions. Like, you guys are seeing what's in common, right? Assassin, 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 assassin. Oh, what? In solo queue assassins are good? Really? I didn't know. Oh, why? Oh, R2 in 3 men with a low life. Boom, 1 shot. Kassadin, jump in. QE, silence, boom, nuked. Ahri, taunt, pick off people. Diana, 5 man ultimate, boom, nuked. Katarina, 1 reset, nuked. Karma ultimate, boom, nuked. Yoni ultimate boom, new Yasuo ultimate boom. you get it, right? They are all very similar in terms of why they are so good. I guess the difference in Corki is you have the package, you have tons of damage. I just like Corki. I think Corki is so good because he is the crit-based AD champion with one of the best teamfight potentials, thanks to his package. You will have Clown Fiestas at Dragon. One good package, you win the game. Because you do tons of damage and you have double dash. Next one is going to be Jace. Jace has one of the best laning phases. Great poking champion overall. Pyke. Why do I think he's so good? It's because he has great pick-off potential in the side lane, yanking people left and right. So he's a champion. If you play it correctly, he can snowball the game. And obviously the ultimate in teamfights is very good. Bop, 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 bop. Reset true damage. Boom, boom, boom. Gregor's overall a very solid champion. Great catch potential and great poke damage. Galio is also really good in terms of damage and utility, whether it be his taunt or whether it be his ultimate. Akshan, one of the strongest laning phases. Great damage overall, but I guess in comparison to Corki that does so much AoE damage, Akshan doesn't do as much damage or doesn't carry a teamfight as hard as a Corki. Yes, his second ability can be good if you revive people, but you won't do as much damage as a Corki, for example, in comparison. Fizz, great assassin, good damage. Orianna and Ziggs are great utility mages that have tons of poking damage. Very good team fighting champions, very safe champions. But they don't snowball as hard as the other champions on their own. They need the right setup. You need frontline, you play front to back, great champions. While these champions, they can carry games on their own better or easier. Should I say easier? I mean, obviously Orianna and Ziggs can carry games on their own as well, but I would say the others can carry it easier. Singed! Dude, Leo 17 is giving me nightmares lately. He's playing really good on Singed. Singed is a champion that wants to cheese in the early game. You want to get a level 2 first blood and then you're just roaming left and right, picking people off. And then once you have like a few items, you become unkillable, you do tons of damage. It's a very cancerous champion when he gets ahead. Very, very cancerous. Zed, great 1v1, great duelist, great split pusher, Twisted Fate. A great snowballing champion with his ultimate, and the gold card is obviously a game changer at catching people. Lucian, tons of mobility, tons of damage. Fiora, great duelist, great at snowballing the game. Veigar, great utility in teamfights, good damage in teamfights if you have the right team comp front to back. Very slow paced though in the early game. Plus you can drone. Echo, slow paced champion in the early game, but overall in teamfights he can be good. Brand, I think the biggest issue is he's a champion that can't roam. I don't like mid lane champions that can't roam, because if the enemy mid laner is roaming, he will carry the game while you are fapping around in the mid lane doing nothing. The biggest problem about champions that can't roam in the early game is that you will just lose the game by doing nothing proactive. You need to be proactive a lot of times. And same explanation for champions like Seraphine, Kayle as well. Maybe Annie. No, actually, Annie depends. Annie can be a good roamer with the ultimate. No, depends. Depends on the matchup. Aurelion Sol in the early game very weak. Teamfight wise he can be good, and roaming wise he obviously can also be good at ganking. But the biggest problem is, can you shop in the wave that you can rotate? Because he struggles against a lot of champions in the matchup. He's a very weak champion in the early game. But obviously he can be very good with the stun, nuking everyone in the teamfight and stunning them. He can be very good. High skill ceiling. Any easy to play champion, I wouldn't say she's a great roamer in the early game. You need level 5. And then you still need setup. Because if you play against assassins and you try to roam, bap, you're dead. She can be good, but she's kind of short-ranged in comparison to other champions. Like, she has obviously the flash or the protobot ultimate combo in teamfights that can be very good, but she can also be fucking useless. It really depends. Garen overall a very solid tank, great into melee champions. Morgana weak in the early game, but in teamfights obviously she can be solid because she has the bind, she has the ultimate, she has the black shield. Wave clear, Early game, early, mid game, not that good. Later on, solid. But like, let's compare Morgana to Karma, Orianna. Like, she's just a Walmart version of them. Pantheon, I already explained it. Canon, I've seen like I only know one Canon player that is actually really good, but I think it's just a player diff. Like Kiss on Canon mid lane, very fucking good. But most players, like, the point of Canon is in the Baron lane, you have the range advantage. He's absolutely dominating the laning phase. But in the mid lane, you will get outranged by a lot of champions, and then there are a lot of assassins that can also kill you in a 1v1. That's the biggest downside. His wave clear is really not that good because he has to use the third ability to wave clear. And the moment you're doing that, you're vulnerable to a gank. That's the biggest problem about Canon mid lane. Lux, overall, in the right hands can be pretty good, especially if you have the right team comp front to back. Not the greatest roamer, but great poke damage, great catch potential. It really depends on how you play and on the right setup. A lot of champions require the right setup to make them work, while other champions don't require any setup. And you guys will see the explanation for a lot of other champions, like Senna, for example, or Soraka. Some champions require the right setup to play them, and if you have a requirement on how to play the champion or when you can play the champion, then that already puts them weaker because they don't have the consistency than other champions. They don't need a setup. Seraphine, I explained it. Fucking weak as fuck early game. Fucking weak. Shit Roma. Weak. Same for K. Weak. I mean, you struggle against most matchups. You are very easy to gank. You can never leave your lane because the moment you're trying to look at the brush, you are already dead. You try to look at the brush, you are already dead. You can't play these champions. Ashe, the only reason why I'm putting it in here because I want to credit the Ashe mid lane players that are making her work with her ultimate utility. She can't really roam too much because she needs vision setup. She needs the support to be nearby or the jungler to be nearby to rotate, because otherwise all she can do is just press the ultimate. That's it. But yeah, ADCs is gonna be quicker, I guess. Oh, Vex! Oh, you guys are right. Oh, chat, your savior. Chat, never mind. You're the best. You're the best. You're the best. Hey, I forgot something. I forgot Vex. Vex is broken. Vex is very, very good. I think I'm honestly surprised I'm not seeing her more, but I think the main reason is people don't realize the potential of her. She is very, very similar to Katarina. Let's say it. She has very safe wave clear. She is not easy to gank because of her self peel. She has the AoE shield that can fear if you have it set up. She has an ultimate that can be a nuke. Like you just jump left and right. Jump, kill. It's very similar to Katarina. And you guys know why I think she's so good? If you time it correctly in a team fight. Use the ultimate. You jump into the backline. You can just nuke them all. Nice. But what you can also do is someone engages for you. And I had games where I was initiating myself, by the way. I jump in. Then you activate the second ability. Boom, a 5-man fear for 2 seconds. And then you just use QE or something really quick, and then you activate stasis. And then your teammates are following up. I think this champion, when she's available and competitive, she's gonna be S+ tier. She's gonna be very fucking good. The downside is her roaming might not be that good in the early game. It really depends. I mean, you can also argue it, or I put it in the... Oh, it moved right now. I mean, you could argue it for Orianna and Ziggs as well. But she has the potential to very easily join a skirmish when something is happening with her ultimate. Because the ultimate is very long range, surprisingly. True, I forgot the Vex. Vex is very, very strong. I think it's the mastery difference. People need to spam her more to be able to use her in Legendary queue. But every single time I have seen a Vex in Legendary queue, they pop the fuck off. And I think that the fear mechanic and the reset mechanic of the ultimate make her so strong because she has like she is like a assassin. She's a long range poking champion that also has the assassination potential of like an Akali or Kassadin, literally. And then she's also a very safe poking champion with fierce self clear, so S plus, S plus, S plus, guys. If you okay, let's continue with ADC. I have one champion that I hate. I had one champion in all of these picks right here. I have one champion I fucking hate. And guess what? It's Ezreal. This motherfucker is broken. And if you guys are not abusing him, you are doing something wrong. Because every ADC player in Legend Queue is abusing this champion. Tons of damage and tons of mobility. It's disgusting. He is the most disgusting ADC right now because he is so hard to kill and he does so much damage. If I had one champion that I would ban, one champion I would ban from all the champions right here, I would always fucking choose Ezreal. He is disgusting. I hate him. S plus broken. I need like another one. Instead of S plus, I'm gonna call it disgusting. Delete him. Ezreal belongs in this. Ezreal belongs in this. I'm getting cancer from this champion. Next one, Corki. Tons of damage, high mobility. Kai'Sa, does a lot of damage, mobility as well, has a shield as well. Very solid champion, a very consistent solid champion. Then we have Vayne, hyper carry, mobility, true damage, condemn, invisibility, you name it. Disgusting, also disgusting. Lucian, one of the strongest early game ADCs. Tons of damage, tons of mobility, disgusting. Samira, oh guess what? Let's put a fucking shield that can block projectiles on Samira. Give her billion of sustain as well. She presses ultimate, you can't kill her anymore. She just deletes you. Hate this champion. I hate all the ADCs. Mine is Corki and Kai'Sa. Corki and Kai'Sa are playable, but these 4 champions, disgusting. All I can say is disgusting. You ADC players are disgusting. It's disgusting champions, guys. Broken. Broken, 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 broken. It's okay, strong, but I wouldn't call them wow broken. I hate them because they don't have as much like she doesn't have as much mobility, and Corki is also it depends. It depends. I think in a 1v1 you have an easier time killing Corki than Vayne, Lucian, or like these 4. They are so hard to kill. I think these 2 are at least killable. These 2 are like, at least we can kill them, even if they're 10-0. If I'm 10-0, I can probably still kill them. But if you're playing against Ezreal, Vayne, Lucian, if you're 10-0 and they are 10-0, they are probably gonna win. You can win. It's disgusting. Oh, that's my summary for the ADC tier list in S+. Disgusting. Disgusting. Okay, next one, Varus. Very safe champion, great poking damage, and the ultimate for utility and team fights also good. Saya, great self-peeling champion, does decent amount of damage, has the feathers to catch people with the root, so great turner. Then she has the ultimate for self-peel to avoid engages, etc. Overall, pretty solid champion. Caitlyn, a very long-range champion, does good damage, has the third ability to dash as well. Overall, very solid. Jinx Tristana. In the early game, not the greatest, but 3-4 items. Absolutely snowballing champion that can just run you down. Especially if they're combined with a Yuumi or with a Lulu. These champions can be very, very good. But in the early game, they are a little bit weak, I would say. Draven, on the other hand, is the complete opposite. That he is absolutely broken in the early game. If you are good on this champion, high skill ceiling on this champion, because he kind of lacks mobility and is easier to kill than these champions that have unlimited mobility. Yes, you have the second ability to speed yourself up, but you don't have really dash abilities. You don't have a dash. You have to kite yourself with the mobility you're getting. So, you need to snowball in the early game support and dominate the laning phase. And then, you need to space yourself correctly with the second ability. Because Draven is also shorter ranged than these champions. Well, Ezreal, very safe champion to poke from the backline. Vayne, tons of mobility, invisibility as well. Condemn to stun someone. Lucian, unlimited mobility. So that's the difference, for example, to Draven. Misfortune got nerfed recently. Overall, in the early game, very strong. Kind of falls off in the late game. But her ultimate is obviously always good in teamfights. Senna got buffed recently. I think if you play Senna into the right team composition, she can be very good. Same for Nasus in combination with the Senna, for example. Not really a solo queue pick, more like a duo queue pick. Maybe I should remove them. When do you play Nasus AP, Nasus bot lane? You never play him solo queue. You need Nasus. Nah, I'm gonna remove him. Nasus is a champion that's a duo. It's a duo queue champion. When you play in bot lane, at least. Jhin overall in the early game very strong, but falls off in the late game. Like you always have to think about in comparison to other champions. You can't tell me a Vayne or Lucian or Ezreal are not out damaging a Jhin by a billion damage. Ashe overall doesn't really do too much damage. All she provides is her ultimate, but her ultimate is obviously very good at catching people if you use it correctly. But in a team fight, she doesn't do as much damage, and she's way easier to kill because she doesn't have any mobility. Karma, Lux, Orianna, Ziggs, overall APCs, great in competitive, but not necessarily as good as as good in solo queue, because you a lot of times won't have the right team composition to play them correctly. But overall, obviously, they have great poking damage in teamfights. Overall, very solid. And at one item, Luden's Echo, they're already really strong. In comparison, ADCs at one item aren't as strong. So, first ranked teamfight, these 4 champions are very, very strong. But yeah, you need the right team comp and the right setup. So, competitive better than solo queue. That's why I just put them 8 here. Same for Brand and Morgana, but they are the Walmart version. Shorter range, less damage. Like, the Brand is very easy to kill. Like, short range, not as much mobility, very easy to kill. While Morgana in the early game is pretty weak, doesn't have the same amount of damage. Like, she has like, I think the best comparison for Morgana is like, she has chipping damage, while the others have like, boom! Boom, boom! You dead! She's like, ah. And the others are, boom! You dead! Understand it? Okay, support. Speedrun. Karma overall, like I said, too much utility, too much poking damage. She can carry on her own. You go, I think the build is Luden's Echo, Ardent, Deathcap or something. You just carry games on your own. Like, you will probably do more damage than your ADC if you play Karma. Then you have, you're also providing a lot of utility as well. You have the shield, you have the more movement speed buff, you have the second ability that can root people, you have the ultimate in teamfights, which is absolutely devastating. Janna, next one. Janna, great peeling champion and shield plus protect enchant. You just give 100% shield. Then the ultimate to peel people overall. Great roaming champion as well. Very strong champion in my opinion. I'm gonna summarize really quickly for these champions because they're all very similar. Okay, now we have the holy pentagon, the holy pentagon of supports, of tanky playmaking supports. Rakan, Thresh, Gragas, Nautilus, Alistar, great roaming champion with great playmaking potential in teamfights, whether it be a knock-up, whether it be a taunt, whether it be a hook, whether it be Gragas ultimate, or Nautilus ultimate, or Nautilus passive. They all are very tanky and they are all very good at roaming in the early game, catching people, snowboarding the game, and then in teamfights they're tanky and they provide a lot of utility overall. So very strong champions, these 5. Then we have Pyke in comparison. He is a little bit different playstyle wise. He's a champion that can pick up people. He's very similar to a Thresh, I guess, minus the fact that he's not tanky, and he has greater carry potential thanks to his ultimate. But yeah, his first ability is very good at catching and snowballing on the map, especially with his second ability. He can rotate on the map very, very quickly. What's the second ability? Yeah, second ability. No, third ability. Wait, no, second ability is for roaming. But yeah, he's like a superior Blitzcrank version, I guess. Then we have Yuumi. Yuumi, You guys know she is like a buffer, like enchanter buffer, similar to Lulu. I guess I'm gonna put them both together. Let's switch it. Let's switch it, guys. Let's talk about Lux first, really quick. Lux is is not like the typical enchanter that wants to provide utility. She's more like a burst one-shot supporter that just does damage as well. She has decent amount of peeling and catch potential with her first ability, but at the same time with the third and ultimate she does a lot of damage in teamfights. Now Yuumi and Lulu are buffers that can make someone really strong thanks to their third ability. And then they have also decent amount of utility, whether it be their ultimate. Yeah, I mean, first ability is the poke damage on both of them. The ultimate is the utility. Ultimate on Lulu can give you HP and slow the opponent down, while the ultimate from Yuumi just stuns them. Is it a stun or root? I think it's a stun. Oh, this is a root. I don't remember. I think it's a stun. But yeah, she has the shield. She gives a shield and attack speed and movement speed. And Yuumi gives healing, gives you movement speed, and you just run on people, on these champions. Like if you buff the Olaf up or Shyvana, or you're buffing Riven, or you're buffing ADC, they're just running them down. Like they're very strong buffers. While Nami is a different, like Nami is very similar to Janna, that they're peelers, but Nami also has decent amount of playmaking potential with the bubble and with the ultimate. Ashe is also unique on her own, that she doesn't really provide peeling. She's more like a playmaking champion that you want to pick off people. So she's kind of similar to Pyke, but she's more team orientated than a Pyke. Because you're setting up ganks, or you're setting up a team fight by catching someone with your ultimate. Senna is a champion that really relies the right team combo. I think I'm gonna put Senna and Soraka. Very similar champion in terms of, okay, we need the right setup to make them work. And for Senna it is, okay, you're gonna use Senna with an APC, or using Senna with a tanky champion, whether it be Galio, Nasus, and then you want some sort of, either you go a full poking kiting team composition, let's say with a Morgana or a Lux or something, or you have two frontliners. Then you can also peel back and provide crowd control. Soraka, very similar explanation, that she kind of wants the frontline to make her work. And if you don't have a frontline, it's very easy to dive her. But yeah, she can provide decent amount of utility, obviously, with the healing, with the global healing, and with the silence as well. Then we have the other tanky champions that are very similar to Rakan, Thresh, Gragas, Nautilus, but I would say they're a little bit weaker. Like Leona, single target stun. Galio, a more situational pick, that you want to pick him into AP compositions, because he gets magic damage reduction on the second ability. Braum, also single target stun, minus the ultimate, but the ultimate, like these champions don't necessarily need the ultimate to make plays happen, while a Braum really needs the ultimate. And otherwise they're just single target stunners. Set can be pretty good, but I would say he needs the right setup, and he's more like a competitive pick than a solo queue pick. But he can obviously be pretty good at catching people with the ultimate, and then you have the second ability. But I think having the right setup to make him work is not something that you will necessarily get in solo queue. Blitzcrank players are most of the times really bad. He is a champion that requires skill, because you have to land a skill shot. If you don't land a skill shot, you are useless. And even if you land the skill shot, you might not win the game because your teammates are bad. So it's kind of tricky. He can be pretty good, but he can also be very fucking bad. So that's why I just put him B. And for the other champions, let's just summarize that they are not as good as the others in the laning phase, and they are not as good as them in team fights, and their playmaking potential is weaker. I think that's how you can summarize these 4 champions, I guess. Singe, also more like a cheesy pick. Morgana, weak in the early game as well, and doesn't provide as much utility. Like, these champions they just don't provide as much as the others, I guess. I guess that's the easiest explanation on how to summarize this really quickly, because we are talking for like 1 hour almost. But yeah, I guess that's it. We have Warwick introduced right now. Warwick, very solid champion. We have Vex, who is absolutely cracked in my opinion. But yeah, that's going for the tier list. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And write down below in the comments your opinion about this tier list. Whether you guys like it or you have other suggestions, write it down below. And I see you next time. Bye bye.
Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush.